just put
Okay,
out.
teachers, I hope you're ready because we have a very, very interesting session for today. We're going to be working with these two amazing teachers, amazing professors. We're going to be discussing how to target readers in our classroom to improve reading comprehension. Let me give you a brief introduction of these two great people. We have Mr. Marcelo Andrade. He's a full-time professor at Universidad Austral de Chile. He has a BA in English language and a master degree in higher education. He has been a team leader in the Cambridge exams and the ELT material writer in the areas of reading and phonetics, a teacher trainer, and is speaking at international ELT conference. So we have here Mr. Marcelo Andrade. Also with us today is Mr. Orlando Nieto. He is also a full-time professor at Universidad Austral de Chile. He has a BA in education and a BA in language and a master degree in applied linguistics. He has been a teacher trainer and a speaker on an ELT conference and has been interested in reading comprehension for more than 10 years. Marcelo and Orlando are the creators of two graded readers, and in their workshop, the creation process of the books, they use the use of lit circles methodology, the comprehension model underlying the activities in the readers, and how to target text for specific students will be covered. Thank you very much for being here. Let's our teachers begin.
All right. Thank you, Anna, for that wonderful presentation introduction. Well, everybody, hello. How are you? We are really happy to be here and share this workshop or series of workshops. We are going to be talking about, what we did here in Chile with the hope of encouraging you to probably do the same and, keep doing more than you are already doing, because just by you being here you can tell that you are really interested in teaching and getting your students to understand better. All the presentations that we are going to present in this event, okay, are focused on reading comprehension. Okay, so we are not working other areas. It's just reading comprehension. So to begin with, we are going to talk about the two Chilean adapted readers that we have created. All right, how we came up with the idea and how we actually did that. And then Marcelo is going to talk about literature circles, using them with these readers. We're going to give you all the materials you need, the website, etc., for free for you to use them, okay, in this one. And then we are going to go a little more in depth in the afternoon and tomorrow. Okay, so the agenda for this workshop is the following. We're going to talk about the readers that we have created. I have the actual physical copies right here. They are small books, all right, with text and activities, reading activities. Okay, for example, right there, I'm not sure if you can see them. Okay, we're going to tell you about the what, the why, and the how we did this. And then Marcelo is going to talk about literature circles, the roles of the students, and you're going to have an activity with him. Okay, so what is it that we did? All right, and well, in 2014, we got funds from a project in our university, Universidad Austral de Chile, and the idea was to create complementary materials for schools, public schools in Chile. In our region, we are in Los Lagos region, the 10th district in the south of Chile. So we could print 1,000 copies of this book, Myths and Legends from Chiloé. And we gave them away, to the schools so they can use them, all right, with the students and, of course, the teachers. And because that was very successful, we want to get funds again from that project, but we weren't successful in that. But since we had made this first reader, the PIAP, Programa Inglés Abre Puertas of the Ministry of Education of our region, got interested. That's why there's a government logo right there. And then the Department of Education of the municipality of Puerto Montt also got involved, and they asked us to, they asked us if they could print, 1,200 copies for all the students in Puerto Montt, all the liceos or secondary schools in Puerto Montt. So that's what we did. This is what it is. Okay. Now, why we did it? Well, at that time, 2014, there were several reasons. Okay, we got the results from some of the standardized tests in Chile called SIMSE. Okay, and you have the results right there, 2010, 2012, and 2014. And bad thing was that, as you can see, even though the results improved, only 2 out of 10 students, okay, really had the level of English required for each stage they were in. So it's very low. All right. So this we thought, we thought that it probably meant that teachers did not have the necessary materials, in public schools, especially, to cope with this problem. All right. Of course, they have all the tools, the pedagogy, etc., but probably the materials were lacking. Okay, and the government, buys some books. Probably, we don't know if they were working, but we wanted to make something to help them. And finally, private schools. Okay, we know here in Puerto Montt, in our city, we know that they were using graded readers, Oxford, Macmillan, Pearson, etc. But public schools weren't at the time. So this is the why, and we joined all these things. So right now we needed to address several critical points, which are these. All right, the level of English of our students was really low because of the results showed it. And then we thought that the prior knowledge, in order to comprehend what the books brought, was not good in our students. I mean, sometimes, how many times, I've heard teachers say, well, my students don't know what a plane is. Yeah, but they do not have the prior knowledge. They have never been on a plane, on an actual plane. They have never been in an airport, for example. So it's difficult to understand something when you don't know it. Probably you've seen it on TV, but that's not enough. So we thought that the prior knowledge of the students and the known topics, the topics of the text should be known, from the cultural background. And that meant that probably we needed to address our identity. Okay, we are in the region where Chiloé is a big island, and there are dozens of nice myths and legends. That's why we chose that. And of course, we needed to create a grade. We needed that text to be graded to the Chilean level and to the students that we were going to address. All right. So how did we do that? We want to show you the process that we went through. In order to read these, myths and legends, the first one, well, we were inspired, but another project, someone won, and got funds for this thing in our university called Chiloé. Okay. As you can see, it was a small Chiloé mitológico escolar, right? And it was in Spanish, but it only had the text, not reading activities. So we were inspired by this, and we thought, okay, this is what we should do, but in English and with reading comprehension activities. So we started to gather all the lore, all the information. We did lots of research. We read different, myths and legends from different books, etc. What we know, because we are from, originally, our hometown, Marcelo and myself, our hometown is Puerto Montt. We are very close to Chiloé. The same thing we did with the Mapuche culture, this one. So we needed to look for several books like this one from the government, for example. And the next thing that we did for this is that we went to a LOF, L-O-F. A LOF is a community, a Mapuche community, all right, in Alerce, near Puerto Montt, like 20 kilometers away. And we gathered with them and we talked to them, and they, passed on everything that they wanted to share with us, and to be in this book. Actually, there's like an interview in the book, original text with this. Okay, so first step, research. You have to do a lot of research, read a lot. It's a little time consuming, but it's really nice. The second step is to go to the syllabus, okay, that you want to cover. For example, Myths and Legends was aimed at 8th graders. Okay, so we had to go to the programs of the ministry, and then the Mapuche Culture book was aimed at 11th graders. So as you can see right there, we went to the programs and we found that that unit right there is about cultures, customs, etc. So that's where this book was. Actually, we had to write reports for the Ministry of Education, okay, telling them that these books, okay, complied with everything, the values, the attitudes, etc., the contents, regarding the programs. Then the next step was to, be serious about the reading activities. So we included questions and activities that were based on a reading comprehension model, that of Van Dijk 1983, all right, so which we are going to explain in depth in this afternoon. Okay, we're going to tell you how it operates, and then how to make the questions. And sometimes, you understand, that's why, all the books, ask, the kids to give a title to this text, for example. All right, so that's it. And also reading strategies, reading comprehension strategies, like the ones right here, for example: prior knowledge, referencing, prediction, visualization, the use of graphic organizers for them to better deal with information in the text. So we also did that. Of course, lots of research on that too. In step 5 for both books, we needed to make sure that the books, the readers, were graded at the exact level that we wanted to. For example, 8th grades should be at level, A2, and then in Chile, at least, 11th graders should, be at B1, level B1 of the CEFR, Common European Framework of References for Languages. That those levels, right? 6 levels: A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. And we went to this web page, Text Inspector. Okay, so you can use that, and you can, take your text, cut it, paste it, and then click on a button, and you will get a graph like the one you have here as an example. As you can see, the text that has been entered right here is mostly has vocabulary from A1. So in the case of the Myths and Legends from Chiloé, it was A2, and we made sure that the Mapuche Culture was graded at the B1 level. Okay, so you can do that. This has to do with concordances and there are lots of web pages that you can use, of course, like this one. But you have to, okay, this is going to be an A2 graded reader. Well, you need to make sure it is like that. That's what we did. And then only for the Mapuche Culture book, we needed an extra step. Because we work with the Ministry of Education, they were very picky, and we had to go to the offices of the Ministry of Education here in the region and talk to the person in charge of the intercultural education area. Okay, he actually a Mapuche person. So he had to read the book, and he gave us lots of suggestions. He oriented us because he said, okay, these words cannot go here because Mapuche culture does not believe in these things. And they made us use a specific spelling system. Okay, we found out that in Mapuche language, Mapudungun, all right, was not written. So there are lots of spelling systems, possible spelling systems. So the Ministry of Education and the government uses one specific spelling system in all its books. So we had to comply with those with that too. All right. So this was the last step, and after that, of course, they gave us the goal, and we could print the book. Okay. Only after that. As I said, well, this was the work, and as I showed you, the books were have okay activities, reading comprehension activities, and we gave these away okay. So we donated all these books to the schools for free use. It's like we the rights, how do you say that, Marcelo? You are the one in...
You mean intellectual rights? Or
Yes, we're what, it's for free, all right? So you can use them. And only for the myths and legends book, we created website, and Marcelo has done that. So you can find both books right there with the all the texts. You can download each text, sorry, and also all the activities, and you will find the answer keys too. Together with the audio, we got Australian teacher to read the texts of the first book, and then we also have a link to the second book. So that's what we did. I hope you got some ideas, and we encourage you to do the same in all the parts that all the places you are. Teachers are sources of energy, so you can do that too, hopefully. Okay, we got the message through. Now Marcelo is going to talk about literature circles and how to use that methodology with the readers.
If you allow me just a second, Marcelo and Orlando, just to remind you, teachers, if you have any questions, Marcelo and Orlando will be taking them at the end of the meeting. However, feel free to participate when Marcelo tell you to. And if you have any questions pertinent to the exact moment, please go to the QA section. I will be more than happy to read it for you. Again, a reminder, if you're not participating, to have your microphone off. And now, sorry, Marcelo, let's go with you.
Okay, thank you. So good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. In the next part, I'm going to present a well-known methodology to be used with our graded readers, which is called literature circles. There's a picture here in the next slide. Orlando, could you please? Okay, as you can see in the picture, literature circles are basically groups of normally 4 students who have chosen to read the same text or the same number of pages of a book, and they share their views about it. To do that, each group gets together during a class or several classes to have a discussion session. Within the group, each student has a different role to play, which I'm going to explain in a few minutes. One of the advantages of this methodology is that it allows students not only to develop reading comprehension of a text, but also the other 3 skills of the language. They write their ideas, they listen to their classmates, and most importantly, they increase the students' talking time in a class. Now I'm going to explain step by step how this methodology works and its 11 key ingredients. To begin with, students choose their own reading material, which is something that we are not often used to doing, at least here. Usually, teachers assign the same book to all students in the class and then give them a written test about it. In the case of lit cycles, students choose what they want to read, which is similar to what we do in real life when we want to read a book, right? Small temporary groups are formed based on book choice. And as I said, 4 is the ideal number of a group of students. And the group will last for as long as the discussion of the whole text takes. So you will see different groups reading different books in the same class according to their common interests. They meet on a regular basis or regular predictable schedule. The teacher sets the dates for the meetings. It could be, for example, twice a month, depending on the length of a text. Then students use the notes they take from the book according to the role they have in the group in order to guide both their reading and discussion. Discussion topics come from the students in the sense that they would propose the topics to talk about with their classmates. Group meetings aim to be as an open, natural conversation. And while students are reading the topics, the teacher has the role of facilitator, helping students with any questions regarding the use of language, vocabulary, or even pronunciation of the words they are using. Now, in terms of evaluation, it is done by the teacher, by teacher observation and student self-evaluation. There's a rubric they can use to self-assess their own performance in the activity and the performance of their peers. A spirit of playfulness and fun pervades the room, which is a type of atmosphere that literature circles propose, which also helps students enjoy reading in the classroom. When the discussion finishes, new groups may form around new reading choices, and this could be done several times during a year, depending on the length of the text they are reading. In a literature cycle, students are given a date for the next session, and they agree normally on a number of pages to discuss in that session. And as I said before, students may take different roles. For example, this could be some of the roles which are the most frequent ones, especially there are others also, but I'm going to address these 4 roles. The first one is word finder. The next one is passage picker, connector, and discussion director. Right? I'm going to explain each of them, and then at the end, we're going to make like an activity which is kind of similar to what they do. Students will do with the text. All right. So the first one, word finder. His or her job is to look for special words in the story. Words that could be it could be interesting, new, for example, different, important, strange, or funny. So any word that calls their attention. So they then have to write it down and mark it and write down on a worksheet, for example, and then mark the page and also the reason why they picked up that specific word, right? And then when the group meets, the word finder helps classmates to talk about the chosen words. And here there are several questions which they can use in order to discuss within the group. All right. So how does the word fit in the story? Does anyone know what this word means, for example? Shall we look it up in the dictionary, etc.? Right? So they discuss the words. And also they ask the other classmates if they found a different word, for example, and that they would like to comment, right? That's the first one. And the second is the connector, which is whose job is to find connections between the book and the world outside. That means that they have to connect their reading to his or her own life, happenings at schools, similar events, in different places, other people's problems or other people, really, books, other stories, other writings on the same topics, or other writings by the same author, for example, right? So they connect their life with the text. The next one, and also, this is like a very telling phrase. We say like, today's reading reminded me of, and they write anything that comes to their minds in relation to the text and what they can connect with, right? So that's the second role. The third role is passage picker, whose job is to pick up different parts of the story that he or she wants to read aloud to the group. Now, this is very similar to the word finder in the sense that you have to focus on a section of the text and then discuss it with the group, right? The different sections could be funny, scary, good, interesting, good descriptions in terms of language, or good writing, right? So once they find the text or the section of the text, they have to share it with their classmates, and in a worksheet like this. They write the page, the paragraph, and also why they chose that passage. So they may also ask someone else to read one of her passages aloud, and they could ask the rest of the group why they think the passage was chosen, right? So basically, that's like the idea of commenting passages. Now, the last one is the discussion director, and whose job is to write down good questions that you think the group will want to talk about. Those questions are not really a quiz, but they are just ideas to discuss. So the task is to help the group, discuss the big ideas of the story, right? They have their own ideas. They come from their thoughts, feelings, questions that could arise from the text, right? Here, there are some guidelines, some general questions that could be used for any text, like, what did you think about this section? Can anyone summarize briefly? Different texts that are like general, they can be for any text, really. But the idea is that they can also ask for specific ideas in the specific story, right? And they write the possible questions or topics to discuss, and then they take it to the group and talk about it, right? So those are the four roles that students have in the groups. So you may see like different groups working at the same time in a classroom, which is like very lively, active, and they learn, and there is a very enriching experience, right? Now, we're going to practice now with one of the texts that we have in one of our books. So as you can see there, there's a website. You can go there now to get the text. So we're going to read one legend, which is called Caleuche. And if you go to mandradey.witsite.com, which is Orlando wrote it there, okay, on the chat. So you can, yeah, okay. So there it is on the chat. So you can go there. The text is on that tab that says Caleuche. So we have the different myths and legends there. And you can click on that and you will see the text. And also you can listen to the story because there's a recording for that made by an Australian teacher who read the text to have like an audio book.
If you, so sorry to interrupt, Amelie is asking where can she find the books. If you follow that link that Orlando just sent and that I sent as well, there they are for you.
Yeah, we have both books to download. On the homepage of that website, you can see the two covers. If you click on any of them, or I think you can download the book. yeah, the Mapuche culture, but you go to Caleuche, so we're going to work.
Yes, you have a menu right there below the name Myths and Legends, and you go to Caleuche. Okay, those tabs right there. So we'll give you some time, and of course, this is the web page. You can use for free. Please do. With me more
Okay, yeah.
than
So
happy.
yeah, sorry. By the way, you're going to read to answer 4 questions that are here. So I like you to focus on this. Each of these questions is like represents like the role of a different role, really. So, for example, for the word finder, what word calls your attention? If you can answer that question while you are reading, you take notes. The next one is, how do you connect the text with real life? Something that you remember, for example. Discussion director is creating really a question for somebody else. And then what passage of the text called your attention? I like you to address and answer these 4 questions while you are reading that. The reading, I will give you like 4 or 5 minutes for you to read that, and then we can comment on your answers to those questions, all right? So if you can also read and listen to the recording while you are reading, all right? So we'll, in the
Okay,
meantime,
everybody. Yes, Marcelo.
in the
In the
meantime,
meantime,
if you have any questions while you are reading, you can type your questions on the chat, and or any comments will be.
or feel free to talk. You know.
Mhm. All right.
Yes, I was getting a reminder that remind them if they have any questions, like Amelie or Liliana here, please feel free to use the QA section. Um, and going to that, and while they're working, this is a very good question pertaining to what we're doing right now. Liliana is asking, what do we do if we have different levels at the same classroom and they have to read the same book? Because our, like you mentioned, your books are A1, A2, B1, B2. What happens if in the same classroom you have a variety of levels, but they all have to follow the same book?
Shall we leave the question for the last minutes, for the last 15
Okay,
minutes?
sure,
Because
absolutely.
since we are reading, we can perhaps address those questions after doing this activity, and then we can comment on the
Absolutely.
different questions. All right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
actually, that's an excellent question because every teacher has a different level student. So thank you, Liliana. That's
Mhm.
a very interesting question. Marcelo will have
Yeah.
your answer right there. Good.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Amelie Delgado asked also, where do we find the books? Well, Amelie, and now you know where. Okay, we gave you the link. Okay, the website, so you can use the books whenever you want. Okay, Florestera Angulo Leon. This culture promotes the native agriculture products like the native papa. Well, yes, in Chiloé they actually they grow potatoes, and actually they grow. I've read that they have like more than 50 kinds of potatoes, actually, and actually you can buy potato chips. Tika, I think, is the brand, and others that come from that island in Chiloé. Of course, we didn't include anything about potatoes in the book. Okay, Flor, again, they practice the fishing too to get food, really? Yes, well, it's an island. Flor, in Chile, in the history of Chile, Chiloé is very special. Actually, the Spanish got there in the 1500s, okay, 1567 for the first time. And, they left some Spanish people right there. And then the ship went to get more food supplies. And they said, okay, we're coming back next year. Well, they didn't. It took 100 years for that to happen again. So the Spanish returns in 1767. Okay, so those first Spanish people were there for 200 years, and they gathered with the natives, etc. Okay, so they had to learn many things, and they created an intramural culture, which is very specific of Chiloé. All right. And that's why all these myths and legends created. And of course, they have to go fishing because, it's part of their culture. Just to show you a little bit of the reality of the book. Well, and Puerto Montt is also on a bay. Okay, we get produce from several of the islands around.
All right. So have you finished the text? Okay. So we can perhaps we can see on the chat some of the questions. For example, if you can write a word that calls your attention, this is what would happen in a real lit circle. Of course, this is kind of artificial because it's normally done very lively in the classroom, etc. But it could give you like a feeling of what it is to be reading and addressing the different rows of the lit
Marcelo?
circle.
Marcelo,
Yes.
I think that if anyone wants to talk, if hear and
Sure.
answer the questions, I think that would be welcome too. All right. So those of you who
Absolutely, yes.
don't want to talk, please type your answers in the chat. But if you want to talk, and share, that's the idea of the literature circles.
Okay, so
right.
Feel free, please, to talk.
Yeah, Liliana, Camila, you guys are with us. Is there any word that caught your attention? Is this connected to your real life?
So yeah, the idea is to see that, different people, different students will pick different words. I don't think everybody's going to pick the same one. So who would like to share that? What word calls your attention?
Okay, here we have some words like brig, sod.
Yes, brig and sod. And Liliana, why did you choose those words?
Because I'm not sure about the meaning. At the beginning, I thought that I read wrongly because I thought that it was $50, but I think $50 in Chile. I don't know. No, and it was sod. I had to compare letter S with should, so I got that it was sod. And I really don't know the meaning of these words. I am googling.
Okay.
Well, a brig is a kind of ship.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of ship. And also sod is like a piece of grass that you take, like square. So if from the grass you take a piece of it, which is like square, and you take it out, that's a sod. There's a picture in the book also with.
Okay. Thank you.
With that. Nice. Okay. Thank you. For
anyone else? Other words? I'm looking for the picture. Sod. Yeah, right there. That one, I'm not sure if you can see that. That's sod.
Okay.
Like a patch of grass, and that's the brig.
Perfect.
Maki and
Thank you very
Tiki.
much.
We have also Maki and Tiki.
Maki and Tiki. Well, Maki is like blueberry, which is native from here. When very small blueberry, and when you eat it, your tongue will get dyed kind of purple. And Tike, Marcelo, I don't remember that
So
one.
let's see. Right, let me see. Well, I don't know if it's just a minute. I'm going to find.
So, Maki, for example, if anyone from here, from Chile or from the south, will know that word. It's like calafate in Argentina. Anyone from Argentina here? But it's purple.
The thing is that
Anna is from Argentina.
the thing is that it's a plant because
It's the maki is like a small bush. It's very resilient to the cold weather, and the fruit is delicious.
Yeah,
Yep.
the thing is that there it says that they have maquis also, but they call them arándanos. But here we also have arándanos, but they are like blueberries. Here,
They're
these are different
different.
names.
There are different kinds of berries. They're very
Yeah.
similar, but they're like a different variety.
Yeah, arándanos and maki are different species, actually.
The thing is that this says maki and tique. Tique is another word for the same, for the plant. As you can see there, it says maki or tique, which is like plant for. Okay, all right. Now
You're welcome,
we can we can move to also the next one. Do you connect anything with your real life, or perhaps we can address the next question? Any of them, because of time. Any of them, like a question for a partner. What could you ask? Okay. Lourdes is okay. All right. Yes. Yeah, you're right. A connection there with everyday life. Yeah, perfect. So thank you for your comments.
Yeah, Lourdes says that the explanation of mundane things in such a fantastical way is universal. That's the connection. See, she's connecting the myths and legends. Suddenly being rich or poor, how a random bird just appears out of nowhere. I also do this in my daily life. So connecting to her own life, attempting to explain the day-to-day in a more intriguing way. That's a great connection. Good.
Yeah.
So to life. Anyone else who would like to share? Activate your microphones on the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no, but please go on, Marcelo.
I was going to ask if does anybody have a question?
Yes. So first is, are they using their native language now?
Okay. Their native language in Chiloé, well, original. There are some people who are Mapuche, and they use, as Orlando was explaining, they have a language which is Mapudungun, and some of them still keep their language, and they are still teaching, at schools, the language, which is Mapudungun. There is no other language really than Mapudungun, which is native to Chiloé Island.
Yes, I have an anecdote right here. Actually, I have some friends on the island, and they got married in the the Mapuche in the south are called Huilliche, Huilli, Huilli, meaning south, and Che people. So they are the people from the south, and they speak a different variety of Mapudungun, which is Chethungun. All right. So I had the opportunity to go to a wedding ceremony. You have to get up very early because it's at sunrise, and it was really interesting to see. So yes, they still speak some native language, all right, and they still have some of their ceremonies going on. That's a great connection, actually.
Yeah.
Marcelo, shall we move to the other one? Here, Lisa
right.
Wakefield, really?
Yeah, Lisa Wakefield was at the Universidad Austral where we work. She was giving like some workshops. In fact, I was there with her in about task-based learning. So that was very nice. Thank you for your comment, Lisa.
So you are
Nice.
really connected to the real thing. Hello, Lisa.
Hello. Nice to have
Thanks
you
for
here.
being here. Lourdes again.
Yeah, nice. That's a passage. Okay.
Passage picker.
Yeah, Lerda says, this passage caught my attention. Once in a while, the crew of the ship of the arts comes to land to have fun. They can do this in two ways, at the house of Chilote friend or at the house of an individual who was forced to throw a party as a punishment for his or her wrongdoings. The forced to throw a party is my favorite part. The way they organize their parties.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure if it is clear here in this text, but the Caleuche is also responsible for people to get rich very quickly in the island. Okay, on the island, they believe that if you want to get rich very quickly, you have to go to the shore and throw a party. Meaning you have to bring lots of food and music, etc. And the Caleuche will appear to you and in return, they will make you rich because they are a pirate ghost ship. So they will make you rich very quickly. So that's one of the things. And the other one is that, well, you're a bad person. And if you don't want to go into the Caleuche, all right, because that's what they do, that's, the crew are the regular people like you and me, who are bad people, right? Well, you throw a party, so they leave you alone. That's the idea. But yeah, the forcing part is really nice.
All right, excellent. So,
Okay.
Marcelo and Orlando, this is your warning.
Okay, so
yeah, all right. So let's move on to the next section, which is thank you for all your comments and questions, Orlando. We move to the other slide. Here, there are some suggestions to use the book, apart from the lead circles, is in relation to how to evaluate the work done in the lead circles, which is personal projects, for example. They could create a poster, for example, with this information. They can make also group projects, and like making a comic in groups according to what they read. In fact, we have got some of these ideas, and they have done it in some schools with our books. You can have a writing task and writing a biography, for example. And I have a website there to share also, apart from the one for the books, which talks about the lead circles in detail, and you can have different texts to use. You can have materials like worksheets, rubrics to evaluate that, and Orlando is also including that in the chat, and so you can experience that. Also put this into practice, use the materials there, worksheets, and all the material there. So you can use also that website. Yeah, basically that's the idea. We are rounding up our ideas with this.
So now,
and you have lots of materials. Here is a bibliography, and these are our emails for you to get contact with us, and we can leave now the rest of the time for you to ask and answer, and we answer the questions.
Yeah, remember that we have a question to answer.
We have a question from Liliana. She wanted to know what to do when you have different levels in the classroom and they have to read the same book.
Okay, so I'll answer that. Well, the idea is that originally these books were, what we had in mind when we wrote the books is the one level, which was like the purpose of the, for example, eighth graders. They had to get to a 2 level. Now, what if they don't have the level, or if you have different levels in the classroom? One possibility is that they can, you can take the text from the book and put it in on the website that Orlando showed you before, which is the text inspector, and you can grade your story again in a different level. So to add and put like different words which are perhaps more simple if the level is lower, or you can adjust to that. And for that also, we have another workshop which has to deal with this, which is like targeting the text for different levels, which Orlando and I will show tomorrow. That's what we call targeting the books or targeting the texts. Tomorrow in the morning, we'll have a special workshop focused on this topic, which is how to target the books for different levels in the classroom. So that is like we said for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But this is the idea, is to change like the
Marcelo,
words, vocabulary for more simple words or grammar.
Yes, a nice perspective. Yes, my idea on the question what to do if we have different levels. I think that the wonderful thing about literature circles is that it allows students from different levels to express themselves in their level. Okay, because the student who doesn't have a very high level can also go and find a word, that he or she likes or he or she finds interesting, and then go to the dictionary and bring it to the lit circle the next time they meet. So if this is my word, it means this and that, and that's all they have to say probably. Okay, so I wouldn't worry that much. Okay, we even thought about going further, because in Chile, as we told you, the level of English in Chile is really kind of low. So allowing students to express themselves in Spanish or in the mother tongue would also be a possibility. Okay, so I don't know. Yo encontré esta palabra, se dice, es caleuche or barcoiche or whatever. They are, remember that the objective, the ultimate objective of this is reading comprehension. Okay, now if you want to focus on fluency or grammar, syntax, etc., well, there are other ways of working that, but this is reading comprehension. Okay, and that's the wonderful thing about literature circles. So I wouldn't worry much about the different levels, because they can participate anyways.
Okay, and the last thing connected to that also is that this is work done in their homes. So they come to the class just to talk about it. So they prepare the readings, they prepare to discuss the ideas. Really, they have to know the vocabulary, look them up in the dictionary, etc., so that they are prepared to talk or share it with their classmates. This is more or less the idea. So yeah, if that answers your question.
Okay, any other questions? Any other doubt?
Yes, please feel free to open your mic to write your questions. Marcelo and Orlando are more than happy to answer all your doubts, or if you wish to leave any comments like Lisa, please come on in. Okay, Lourdes says, do students often have a favorite myth? Is there a specific reason?
Well, that's one thing that we need. That's the next step we need to take. Okay, in do some research on the use of the books. We just created them, and we got some feedback from the teachers, but we haven't studied or researched about what you're saying, how they work, or for example something as specific as if they have a favorite myth. So this is the next step. We're going to have, a survey or research, ask the students, ask the teachers to find out all these things, how they have worked, really worked with the books. So it's a great question. Thank you, Lourdes, for we're going to include that one. Can we in our research?
Yeah.
Oh, do you both have a favorite myth?
Yeah. Yeah, I have one, which is the first one, the Tenten and Kai Kai Vilú, which explains the origin of Chiloé. It talks about the fight of two snakes that lift the different land and or the water, and they create the archipelago of Chiloé. I love that because it's like the origin of everything, geographically speaking. So that's my answer.
Yeah, and if you think of it, the origins explained by in the Chilote myths is like a deluge. It's the same one. Water everywhere. It's like the Bible or other cultures. So you have to think it's like, oh my God, if the Chilote are talking about a deluge, if the Bible talks about it, etc., that thing must have happened. I mean, yeah, you have to wonder how different cultures, from way different parts of the world are talking about the same thing. It's like, nah, I don't know. It's like it must have happened. So that's great about that one. I like Aleuche too, and my favorite character is Trauco, El Trauco. Okay, Trauco is like, I don't know, it's like a leprechaun or or a very short guy, and he has this sexual magnetism that can, I don't know, attract any woman. However, that myth actually, when you get serious, in their culture, was a very good way of taking the shame, okay, out of women who got pregnant, okay, out of wedlock. All right. So because they could blame El Trauco. So the Trauco did it. I am a single mother, but it was because I found him in the woods, and it's not my fault. So I think it was Trauco is a very nice way of dealing with that without blaming the women. All right, for that. And this is something that we have today as a topic, very important topic, like women who have been raped or forced to marry someone, etc. So, and the stigma lies on them. Well, in the Chilote culture, it was some mythological, creature. That's the guy who we have to hate, not you.
Not the woman or the
so
baby.
it's
Excellent. So Esther is asking, why is it important for the students to learn about myths and legends?
Oh, I could talk for hours about that. My favorite book is called, The Power of Myth. I have it here, actually, by Joseph Campbell.
Yeah.
All right. So myths teach things. Myths are the ways in which, our ancestors explained things. And if we can go, myths have also, in that respect, they also show truth, values, etc., that we can learn. And myths are local. So if we learn the myths of our people, we can learn about our own culture. I think they are being lost. Okay. And legends, of course, are these incredible feats made by someone worth remembering. So I think the memory and teaching values and things related to your own culture is the biggest importance of learning myths and legends.
All right, everybody, teachers, Marcelo, Orlando, thank you so much.
No
this
way.
is very interesting. Yes,
Thanks.
we are about to finish. We could stay here all day. Thank you so much, Marcelo, Orlando, for your wisdom. It was amazing. It was very interesting, and especially for me, it was connected because we're neighbors. Teachers,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your participation, for your comments and questions. I hope you have
Yes.
enjoyed this. And I think we will be seeing you next year very soon, hopefully with
Well,
Marcelo and Orlando
we
as well.
still have 2 workshops. Okay,
No,
we're
no,
going to
yes.
explain the model behind
You're right.
this one, the reading comprehension,
You
and then
are
how to tag it. So
absolutely right. We will see you again. See,
so
today.
you're invited.
So you're invited to come back for more because we're addictive.